you are looking at a chart of the euro, and let's assume that we are bearish on this chart. Okay, now why might we be bearish? Well, we've been going up for 3 days. Okay, we have taken out the previous half of the week, right? And now we are reversing, perhaps. And the question might be, where, if we're not already short, and we're waiting for this price displacement, and now we kind of want to get in on a pullback, where do we get in? Okay, so I'm going to do some analysis to try and answer that question. Okay, so there's a lot of things on my chart. The first thing I want you to understand is you need to kind of gauge where is the most current swing. Okay, so let me just turn off some of these lines. Okay, so if I'm looking at this, and this will come with experience. Okay, a current swing is basically a swing low and a swing high. Okay, and when I look at this, my eyes immediately goes to this swing low and this swing high. Okay, so when I measure that, I want to kind of find where's the midpoint. Okay, so I will turn on some drawings and let's identify where is that midpoint. So from that swing to that swing, we get a midpoint of 108.750. Okay, 108.750. You can see that there's the midpoint that's been calculated from that swing low to that swing high. So I'm going to take that off now, this one. Okay, now I've already got that drawn on the chart because that's on the left hand side, and as we're coming down, I've already got that. I already know before this comes down, or even when it's starting to come down, I already know that swing low and this swing high, so I can draw that. Okay, at that point on the way down, okay, I want to see some kind of resistance. Okay, and I want to, so that's the first thing, that's 50% resistance, so that'd be an ideal. Price should hold at that level, which we can see it has. Okay, secondly, I want to kind of see around that level, has there been previous accumulation? And you can see there's been a consolidation there, which, or even if it was just a down candle, that would indicate a level of accumulation on the way up. That's right at the 50% level. That's why when you go through that level and go back up into that level, you're going to have a level of resistance, which we do, and that's a really nice place to look for short setups. Okay, and the other thing I like to do is I like to find the last down candle prior to the price displacement up, and that's where I've anchored. This blue shaded area is anchored on that last down candle on the left hand side of this curve. Okay, I then measure 50% of that range. That's what that dotted line is on the horizontal axis. Okay, you can see that it's anchored on the low and the high of that down candle preceding the move up. Okay, and you can see we're coming to this level here where price is going down and come back up. It's respecting the 50% of that level. Okay, of that down candle. Now I want you to notice that original swing low and high. I'm going to put that on there again. I want you to notice the 50%. See how it's coming up? I'm going to anchor that where they're supposed to go. And I want you to notice the confluence is going up. See, watch that 50% line that's moving. That'll stop when I anchor this to the swing high, but I want you to see where it comes in at. So I'm going to put it on the swing high and look at that. You don't even see it. It is that well aligned with the original 50% that I drew from that down candle in that 50% of this swing high and low that you can't even see it. That's how well that confluence is at that level. Okay, so you kind of got to use a bit of maths to work out where these levels are. But the 50% of the range, if you go through the 50%, okay, so remember we had this 50% marked out on my chart, right, before this move down, because I can calculate that 50% on the left hand side on the way up from that low until I get to that swing high, which is the high when we start to move down. And so when that high is in place, I can immediately draw the high, the low, and calculate where the 50% is, so that when price goes through there, with high probability I know that that's where resistance will be. Okay, and that's where I might be able to find a short entry. Minimum target will be back to the lows, right? Or wherever you think this market is headed. So if we simply calculate from that level there down to this low, that's around 20 pips. Okay, now I think this will go lower. I think we're headed to the low of the week, but that's irrelevant. Okay, so that there is a key level. Now we may again today London or New York, London's still going, goes to 5 a.m. You can see the time on the bottom left of my chart, bottom right of my chart. Okay, so still a bit to go before London completes its session. We might get another move back into that level, and that's where I would look for more short setups if we're still bearish for a move lower. Okay, so that's kind of how I see this market playing out, and that's how you can find your setups once you are comfortable that we are indeed going down. Okay, so I hope that was useful. I will now talk with you in a future video.